No, that wasn't me. That was, him.
Him who?
Hadden de Boardwalk show de geven Philippines een bunch of animated films. You do dit about dit of fictional films about crabs. Unsurprisingly, there would be a movie in 2023 made by Paramount that was an original animated film. This is basically about crabs. And then the movie was released on select theaters on October 27th. And on digital on November 7th. It's for you. This is reviews from critics. Boo. My favorite fucking the financial success. Since not only did this movie receive since not only did this since the vision of why this movie had the relation selected and released on digital just a few days later. It's because Paramount's marketing for this movie was absolutely horrible. But however, the customer expectations, I do at least hope that this movie could at least be enjoyable. And be way better than how Paramount handles this movie in 2023. So now that I'm gonna watch an original crab movie, that was released in 2023. Will this movie be so good to the point where we want to be the description too of it. Will I discover that this piece of crab the show no marketing? Let's find out. And let's find out what is in this movie. So now let's talk about the story. And when it comes to the story itself, it is exactly what it speaks from a movie titled The Boardwalk, where it's about a man who is the hermit crab who is a bit of an outcast from the other hermit crabs. Because he's a bit nervous, but however, one day a mischievous catches him, and the catches him, and remain to get sent into the human service. Surface. And while Ramona does enjoy the human surface, they still need to go back to their home.
How far are we from the ocean?
In Crab Lakes? I don't know, maybe 1 million?
This may be the furthest away from my mother I've ever been.
Yo, now I want to hear the big one with the story. Instead, the writing is not great at all, but it can make the film very can be quite predictable and also some of the things like the comedy, while not harmful, often dedicated to the podcast. I'm not a way to the pond, woo, 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 we will call them. Woo, 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 we will call the jokes. Huge, made of hilarious. And also the basic is a big for me, while there may be some things. Well, there might be some parts of the video that I do feel way too fast or way too slow. Oh, way too slow. And not to mention that the story feels like, not to mention that the story makes it feel like an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. Where it can feel like just like the original. Well, they very sometimes can feel slightly unoriginal. But however, the statement that the story in this movie is outright bad, well, actually, surprisingly, no. And there are some things where that can be enjoyable. That can be enjoyable. That can be enjoyable about the story. But however, when it comes to the entire story in general, while it's definitely not terrible, but because of the very quick writing, it makes the story feel like a me. It makes the story, it makes the story feel like a mediocre. Feel like a mediocre Romeo and Juliet but with crabs. So now let's talk about the animation. Now when it comes to the animation, while the writing isn't that great, the animation, it doesn't mean that the animation in this movie isn't great either. In fact, the animation in this movie is actually quite great in my opinion. So now let's start with the character design. Ah, at least for the crabs. Well, they have those shells. That remind me of snails. Bad for crabs. And they actually look quite creative. And the whole designs of the crabs are meant to be cartoony. While not too cartoony, that does make them look kind of cute. And also the character animation is usually quite smooth, where it can make some where it can result in some humorous jokes. And also the color palette is actually very colorful and vibrant, where it really looks quite saturated. And there's also the shit where the wave causes the queries to get into the human surface. And it actually looks with intense from a web's point of view.
Hey, look out!
And they were also the backgrounds very well the place for the query is represented is like a big problem while when they go to the human surface it looks like the it actually looks very big from the perspective of a crab. And also the film and also the film does have and also the film does have, and also speaking of from the perspective of a web spoiler there scene where like the savage crabs are fighting the blue crabs, and it actually looks very creative, very wild from the humans. It doesn't really seem that much boo, 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 but from a web. It literally looks like a wall. And also the film does have a bunch of musical numbers. Whoa, which I will definitely count. Well, while I wouldn't say that they are great songs, the animation does really help them to make them really look like the big highlight. Where it looks colorful in some parts and can be quite engaging to watch. But however, if I have to give one nitpick about the animation, it's the change of the humans. Well, while I wouldn't say that they look straight up terrible, there's something weird about them. Well, they look like they're trying to look cartoony. It's also realistic at the same time. While they don't look bad, they end up looking a bit awkward. But when it comes to the animation, it still looks great and really feels like we're going under the boardwalk. So now let's talk about the characters. And when it comes to the characters, I say that they are actually quite okay. You probably wouldn't say that they are great, they are still quite okay. So then let's start with the main character of the movie. Almond, who is voiced by Michael Cera. Who is the main character of the movie? Who's an always crap.
Look at this place, Anemone. The sun is shining. Everybody's out there having fun.
In this is also Mona who is so much loving choice. And spoiler alert at the end of the movie, they kiss. And Hermit says that she's now his girlfriend now.
It feels amazing!
And there is also Bobby. And there is also Bobby who is part of the the strong orange crabs. Well, he's like the kindest one to our men.
You gotta get out of your shell, buddy.
And there is also many of at least that's what I think his name is. Who's this like Bob? Who's inside of who's inside like Michelle but however, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he's now in a shell of some random old crap.
Oh, this my jam!
And as for the other characters, they've also the other two strong crabs that are like Bobby, and there is also Ramona's sister and there is also Ramona's sister who is mute. And there is also Ramona's mother who is more of the overprotective mother. And finally, and and they will surely show this, and they will surely show this to Hermit crabs who are just who are the ones who are on the sail, and they will surely show this crab with a beautiful shack when Spollywood Bobby whipped out the Bobby whipped out the villain's glove, and they will surely show the mother of the villain, who's the mother's villain, and the villain also, and they will surely show the two bad blue crab mothers of the villain, and finally there is the villain of the movie, who is this blue crab, who often acts like the antagonist. But however, right at the end of the movie, Spollywood, he actually gives Barbie a shell, and he's not really an antagonist. At the end of the movie, and also I like to say that the voice acting in this movie is actually quite good and can make the characters enjoyable. And when it comes to these characters, while they're not great, but however, as crab characters on their own, they are still mostly okay. So now let's talk about the songs. And when it comes to the songs, just like the story, they are genuinely not great. So while I wouldn't say that they are unlistenable, though they are still mostly forgettable. So now let's start with the opening song. Heaven is a place called New Jersey. This is exactly the opening song you'd expect from a movie that takes place in New Jersey, and they will surely show the song that is sung by Alman and Ramona, where they sing without knowing each other that much, and they will shall see the third song, which is a song with the blue crab and the swan crab, and then the fourth song is, and the fourth song is, and they will surely show the fourth song where it shows Ramona and Almond having a good time in the human surface, and sing about how the human surface is not that bad, and they will surely show the song that is performed by Bobby, where he sings about himself and how he's quite strong. And finally there is the end credit, and finally there is the ending song where it shows all the characters singing together, and they also, and from what I heard that one of the lyrics, who have a lyric that says under the Boardwalk, which is like which is the name of the movie. Now, when it comes to the songs in general, I want to say that the best one about the songs is that the movie doesn't feel like there's something about it where it felt like the movie really didn't need to be a musical. But they had to include musical numbers in order to avoid this movie being too short. But however, and when it comes to the science in general, while they are not terrible, they are still just mediocre, and definitely not the best part about the movie. So, as I said before in this video, while I did acknowledge that Paramount's marketing for this movie back in 2023 was almost non-existent, I did at least have hope that this movie could actually be quite enjoyable and way better than Paramount's and way better than how Paramount marketed the movie back in 2023. But and after watching this movie, while I wouldn't say that it is rated, it's still quite decent. I know the Boardwalk is a decent crap movie that filmmakers and problems that give it away from being racist to big fighting. That little generic story, mediocre songs, and the pacing is a mixed bag. It all showcases enjoyable things that overall can make some of the movie enjoyable. Just the great animation, okay characters, good voice acting, and some great looking musical numbers. Now when it comes to my recommendation for this movie, while I wouldn't say that this movie is much for anyone, I will say that if you want to see an original musical that features scripts, I will say that you might enjoy this one. And that's why I'm saying that this movie was decent and getting 7 out of 10. So, as I said before, while this movie isn't amazing, it is still a decent pop musical from Paramount.